Mark Helfrich from Space World. Didn't know I had to make an open statement, but just extremely proud of our entire program for what our guys have accomplished this year, top to bottom. Just an unbelievable group of men and women in our program that have made this whole thing happen. And also want to congratulate Coach Rodriguez and Arizona on an incredible season. We've been in that locker room before, and it's not much fun, but those guys had an unbelievable season, and we have to get them this time.
Questions? Right up front.
Hey, Coach, Steve Cronin from the San Francisco Chronicle. For you and Marcus, on the conference call on Monday, you said that you and Marcus and the team really haven't discussed the Heisman much during the season. You wanted to play low. Now that the resume is complete, what would you say about Marcus and the Heisman?
Well, what I would say is without getting too involved, is if this guy isn't what the Heisman Trophy is all about, then I'm in the wrong profession. Just on the field and off the field, he's it. Our team's made up of a bunch of guys that are in his mold, and a lot of that is due to his leadership. Obviously, on the field, I think that speaks for itself, but if you want your son or daughter to have a role model, pick this guy.
Marcus, you want to echo that?
Thanks, Coach, for all the nice words. I wouldn't be in this position without my teammates. There's 11 football players I have to play. Without those guys in the locker room, none of this would be possible. And again, I'm very proud of the guys in the locker room and just thankful that we had this opportunity.
Robbie Boydston, Scout.com. Coach, it took a little while for the offense to get going tonight. First 5 drives, it was pretty tough, but you guys eventually were able to get things going and get a lot of yards up there and a lot of points. How do you feel about the offensive effort and how they were able to battle through the early struggles? Well,
I think that the effort was excellent. I think our effort in every phase was excellent. Our defense did a tremendous job of stopping a very high-powered offense, limiting them to minus yards rushing, and I don't even remember what the number was at halftime. And offensively, we were a little bit tight, a little bit. A bunch of guys were trying to make it, they're trying to make it 42-0 on 2 plays. That's very difficult. And whether it was jumping off sides or making some mistakes, we were inches away from a bunch of points. You have to give them credit for that too, but I think the effort was outstanding.
Down in front.
Eric Dargan, Comcast Sports Northwest. Yeah, Marcus scored a lot of touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. Eric, let's talk about the defense today. 25 yards in the first half. You guys played probably your best game of the season. We all know you guys were really upset about the first time you played them. A lot of guys said you guys returned to focusing more and paying better attention to detail. Can you tell us about your performance today?
I think it goes out to our defensive coaching staff. They really did a good job of just allowing us to focus on our keys. I think our front seven played pretty good. Front seven played pretty good today. All credit go to them.
Did you have a feeling you might be as dialed in with them as you were? It seemed like you knew what was coming. You were prepared for everything.
Definitely. Definitely. We pride ourselves on communication. We know if we communicate, we can be as good as we want to be.
Never seen him this soft-spoken before.
That was for our transcriber. That was as good as we can be at the end of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Matt Kareem, 24/7 Sports. Mark, going along the defense, you guys didn't even allow a snap inside the red zone, and it seemed like your front seven, particularly Eric and Defoe and Tony Washington, had big games. Can you talk a little bit about those 3 guys?
Yeah, I think that the biggest, as a lot of people, kind of our local media asked about during the week, is they run an offense very similar to ours because you try to put people on their heels, whether it's psychological or in fact. And I thought our guys did an exceptional job of attacking, and it's not read and react, it's read and attack. And the faster that happens, obviously the one-on-one in space becomes a more constricted space, and we made a ton of great one-on-one tackles, both in close quarters and in space. And that's what you have to do to stop a team like this.
Right back to the front.
Marcus, Michael Wagner with the Associated Press. Number one, how much different is this team than the one that played Arizona earlier? And although you guys talked down about the whole revenge factor trying to get it, how satisfying is it to get that blemish off your record?
We had a lot of motivation going into this game. This was, our goal when we started the year was to be able to win the conference. And, we didn't try to put too much emphasis on it, to be honest with you, because that's going to cause a distraction and not allow you to play to your abilities. And for us, we just wanted to go out there and play the best game that we could. The last couple of years, we haven't been able to put that out there against them. And tonight was just a great example of us kind of playing a complete game as a team and we're very fortunate to be able to come.
Right back to the front.
Aaron Fetchers with Comcast Sports Sunday Game. Marcus, at the beginning of the season, you talked about how important it was to win a conference title, something you hadn't done yet for all you to accomplish. How does it feel to finally win a championship?
It feels great, and for us as a team, to be able to accomplish that just says a lot about how much work and how much we've prepared in this entire year. And I'm so proud of the guys in the locker room. I'm so proud of just everyone that's involved, because it takes a lot of hard work to win in a conference like this. And it's just an awesome feeling.
Third row.
Yeah, Rich Cobell with EDUC. This is for Coach or for anybody up there. Was there any one thing in tonight's game that surprised you, that stood out, good, bad, or ugly?
I think we just prepared for it. We knew what we was going to get coming into the game, so I think we just read our keys and communication.
Anybody else surprised over here? No.
I don't think surprised. I mean, there's so many things that happen during the course of a game, and just staying focused on your job. And that these guys doing that, the way that they've prepared, the way that they've improved, it wasn't surprising.
Good enough. All right, back to Steve in the front.
Coach, and for Eric, when you guys were here a month and a half ago, Cal put up 41 points against you. I've noticed since then your defense has gotten a lot better. Why and how has it gotten so much better from the time you played Cal here to tonight?
I think a huge part of that is a prideful bunch of guys and a prideful bunch of coaches that are competitive, and I think we've gotten better almost weekly, and this was a completely different challenge, from all the rest of the games since then. There's obviously a lot of different schemes and systems in the Pac-12 that you're getting ready for on a weekly basis, and our guys were dialed in tonight.
All the way to the left here.
I think he wanted to hear from Erick Dargan as well.
Just going off what Coach said, we want to get better each week, and I think from that game to here, we did that. Just really, communication is our biggest thing.
Adrian Schreier, KWVA Radio. Marcus, 11 penalties in the first half. Did you have a message to the guys at halftime that cleaned up in the second half?
I think the overall message from everybody on the sideline was just to relax. We were able to move the ball. We were executing a lot of the plays that we had prepared for. Is just, I think the overall just feelings and emotions of the game kind of got to us a little bit. And, again, I can't say too much about how much those guys really just came in, fought, and relaxed, and were able to kind of execute and finish the game.
Second row.
Mark Rainey, KZL Radio, Eugene, FM home of the Oregon Ducks. You guys are a great team. I know you're aware of what kind of a special team you are, but are you aware of how much the community of Eugene and Springfield and the state of Oregon thinks about this team? Do you give it much thought? Are you aware of how much we love your team, the way you guys play, and who you guys are?
It's all pretty surreal. We're very thankful for it, because without your support, without the community's support, we wouldn't be where we're at. And, we're very grateful for it, and, we just can't thank the fans enough.
Back to the front.
Fetchers, Comcast Sports. Mark, after the Arizona game, there was some skies falling from media, fans, people freaking out, wondering what was going on, bringing back Chip Kelly, blah, blah, blah. How did you handle that, and how did you stay the course with this team? And did you ignore it all, and did you feel confident you guys can turn it around?
And he was one of those people, so see how he goes. People are talking. The one guy wants to know.
No, on record, I had you guys back.
Hey, that's part of the deal. Again, they're the number 7 ranked team in the country, for a reason, and I was kind of snickering at the question about penalties, and we just beat the 7th ranked team 51-13, and it's hard. And I think our guys, again, we just have an unbelievable group of players as people, unbelievable group of assistant coaches that came back, and I know I've talked about this a bunch. The next day they were out. Every single guy in our program was on the practice field 25 minutes before they had to be fixing it. It wasn't, hey, you screwed this up, you did this wrong. It's how do we do this better? And they haven't looked back, and that's, again, an incredible credit to those guys.
Back down to the front here.
At 247sports.com, it's for all three of you guys. I asked you, Mark, after the Civil War, if you guys were playing your best football. Now that there's no more games the next couple of weeks, do you feel like you're playing your best ball going into playoff now?
Well, yeah, we just talked about that in the locker room, a little bit of finishing, of those guys have had great, the characteristics of a champion to this point, have to finish school this week, have to finish, the next couple days in traveling, coaches going recruiting, all that other stuff, and we'll kind of rally up when we find out where we're headed and continue to ascend.
Second row.
Coach, I know you guys keep track of this stuff, but there are 57 offensive snaps in the first half. Helped break a defense that initially was very game to hang with you guys. Where does that number of snaps, offensive snaps, does that rank in your annals if you keep track of it, and going over 100 snaps a game offensively? What does that do to the opponent?
Well, we want to go fast, and they want to go fast. And again, a credit to the defense of their possessions were shorter, and we put together some drives, had some fourth down opportunities. Didn't finish with touchdowns on a couple of those in the first half the way we would have liked to. But yeah, we certainly believe in our conditioning. We certainly believe in everything we do. As a game wears on, our guys are more and more confident. And again, that's easier said than done sometimes against a team like Arizona. But our guys finished for sure.
Do one more here.
Scout.com. Coach, again, a lot of big contributions from the young guys: Charles Nelson, Darren Carrington, Devin Allen, Willis Freeman. Just how would you assess their play, especially their maturity level on the big stage tonight? It's
been big, and if you would have been kind of out with these guys in the summer and hearing, hey, wait until you see this guy, and wait until you see this guy, and whether it's defensively Erick and Efo leading the back end, or some of the front end guys, it's Keenan Lowe and Marcus training our young guys. They're just, again, phenomenal guys. Keenan Lowe again, for the type of guys that make up a bunch of our team. Keenan Lowe is teaching Charles Nelson how to take his job. He's teaching Darren Carrington how to take his job. He's teaching these other guys how to, take balls out of his hand, and that's not normal. And it's just, again, a credit to our assistants, whether it's, Jim Fisher and recruiting, all the guys that go out and do it, of making sure we get the right guys, because we knew we needed some guys to step in and play significant roles early, certainly at those spots.